Here now with reaction is the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Kevin, is there any appetite here at all for the benefit of the American people, any Democrats, to say these are good things to do for the American people? Maybe we shouldn't politicize a virus that impacts everybody?
I hope so, Sean. What we watched tonight was the exact type of leader we need in the White House. His tone, his leadership, his action. As you said, that action that he took early on that people would criticize by walling off China. Had Italy done that, they would be in a different position today. Talking to Dr. Fauci and the Vice President tonight, the reason why he's taking this action, you could almost directly correlate any case inside America that has a case directly from Europe. So that's why he's taking the action there. But he's also looking at the economy, and I hope the American public trusts him, because we have the strongest economy in the world based upon the policies for the last 3 years that he led on. Now, if the Democrats try to move what they're trying to do, I don't know that that will help the economy. It'll just cost us so much more money. Remember what the Democrats just passed today. They passed a rule, Sean, to bring a bill up tomorrow that says no ban, meaning it would make the president even weaker in his ability to do what he was just asked to do tonight, that he was going to ban from China coming in and now Europe to keep us safe. This is what they're bringing up. That is the contrast of where we are today.
Yeah. You know, I want to, Kevin, just go again over the timeline here. Within 3 weeks of identifying the virus, 3 weeks, the president put the travel ban and the quarantine into effect, and he was widely panned and criticized. Bernie Sanders said he never would have done that, and Joe Biden said the president was xenophobic. Yes. Then we see unprecedented monies being spent, $8.3 billion. That's a lot of money. Then we see the president expanded the travel ban as necessary for the protection of Americans. At this point now, the president is doing it even further. I get criticized for pointing out we lose tens of thousands of Americans every year from the flu. I wish we didn't lose anybody. I want every American to be safe and secure. But perspective does count, and perspective matters. If you compare H1N1, we lost in a year 12,500 people. Worldwide, we lost nearly 500,000 people, according to estimates. And there was not this level of panic that we're now seeing, if that's the right word, but among some sectors. And I'm wondering why. I'm trying to understand it. Certainly, when you look at those that are at risk of really dying from this virus in particular, it's very clear right now that it is people that are older, underlying health issues, and those that have immune issues to deal with. Very clear at this point.
Yeah, if you're over 70 and you are a smoker, you have lung problems, you should keep yourself inside. Don't go to big gatherings or others. But remember what this president did as well. This is something that no one's really talking about. In 2019, you know what he created? The Infectious Disease Rapid Response Fund, the national stockpile. He's increased CDC and NIH funding. We are better prepared today, and that's not the president saying, that's a study by Johns Hopkins telling us where we are. The president, what he also is doing, he has been briefing Congress. They have been bringing everybody together. In one of the first briefings down on the Capitol, no one heard about it because the Democrats were impeaching the president at the time while he was leading this nation. Had China allowed this president, what he requested was send our scientists, our researchers, our doctors. We could have contained this in China just as what we did with Ebola in Africa. The ingenuity of America is going to overcome this. And that's what I heard from this president, his uplifting. Remember who's been coming into this White House. He's had Gilead and others that actually have a treatment today, a therapy, how to treat it. But you got Johnson & Johnson and others that are looking to create a vaccine. He's streamlining the process to create a vaccine. Regardless of all the politics the Democrats have been doing, this president has been leading, first to keep us safe, to prepare us for the future. And yes, economically, this is hurting the world based upon China's action, their denial of what was going on as early as November, not allowing us in there to help because we have the very best. But what he's doing now is not only to protect us, make this as small as it can be and contain it as well as we can, but get a vaccine for if it comes back, but make sure our economy continues to grow. And what did he do? He looked to small business, because this is a man who's built jobs before. He understands what it takes in the economy, and that is why we have the strongest economy in the world, and we will continue and we will get through this.
All right. Thank you, Kevin McCarthy. Congressman, we appreciate it. The House Minority Leader, Dr. Anthony Fauci, did confirm on this program even last night that the outbreak of this Wuhan, China province coronavirus would have been far worse. We will not be able to even calculate the number of Americans that did not contract this disease because the president acted in unprecedented ways and literally within 3 weeks.